In this edition of In the Trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics, we talk special teams with, in my opinion, the best in the business, the best in the National Football League. Assistant head coach, special teams coordinator, Darrin Simmons. Let me tell you, special teams are going to be huge in the Super Bowl. Field position is big in every single football game. The bigger the game, the bigger a factor field position becomes. There's no bigger game than the Super Bowl. You can put Stafford and the Rams on a long field, and you can generate some short fields due to kicking game excellence. If you can say they have to generate more first downs than our offense does, that's going to be a big plus in the outcome of the football game. Darrin Simmons talks about his kickers. He talks about his special teams unit. He talks about the Cincinnati Bengals in general as a football team. He talks about how happy he is in his 24th year coaching in the National Football League to finally get to the Super Bowl. You're going to like everything Darrin Simmons talks about. Welcome once again to In the Trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics. And we are in the outstanding studios that we always emanate from at First Star Logistics. And we're talking Super Bowl 56. We're talking Super Bowl 56 with special teams coordinator and assistant head coach, Darrin Simmons. Pleased to be joined by this very special guest right here. Coach, how about it? Congratulations. You're going to the Super Bowl.
Isn't that amazing? That has a nice ring to it, doesn't it?
It sure does.
I was wondering if I was ever gonna hear that, but it certainly feels good to be able to say it.
You know, honestly, when I was thinking back to my thoughts in August and early, in September, I'm thinking, you know what? This football team's got a little something to it. A wild card, man, they could, maybe make a little noise with a wild card. Talk about exceeding my expectations. And, that was my high end expectation. And it's been amazing to watch the evolution of this football team. It really has.
It's been fast. It's been, I think it's certainly been quicker than most anybody expected. I think it's something, the expectation we always have, but until you actually go out and do it,
right,
and have the opportunity to go out and do it, you never really know. And now the confidence level of this group is so high, and everybody's playing such good complementary football. The defense makes a play, the offense drives the ball, and we kick a field goal. Whatever happens, it's been a pretty good formula here, down the stretch for us. And I think it's a mark of a good team, though. Teams that can play off one another, and teams really that never panic. Our group never panics. Even when it was 21-3 last week, when it was we were down, pretty big the first time we played Kansas City. Nope, there's never a sense of panic. Everybody just keeps playing their game, and we're very opportunistic, and hopefully we can keep that up for one more game.
And that started right away, Coach. I mean, in the first game against the Vikings, it's like, you got to battle from behind. And all year long, it was didn't win them all, but he dug a hole, and it was a common theme, dig a little bit of a hole and then rally back and then overtake it all to win it, or just come up a little bit short. But man, the resiliency, it was like after you do that a couple of 3 times, it's like, man, we know we can do this. We've been here before, been there, done that. Was that the mentality you saw started happening?
Oh, for sure. It's just that you can definitely feel it on the sideline. Again, like I said, nobody panics. Everybody sticks together. There's never been anybody, regardless of what the score was, there's never been anybody pointing fingers like, hey, this group needs to do better. Everybody knows. Everybody gets the sense of what they have to do to try to find a way to win. And thankfully we've made enough plays, here down the stretch to win some important games in some tight spots when we needed it. But this is a very tight knit group. This is the tightest group, but in my 24 years in the NFL that we've ever had or ever been around, for sure. And everybody plays for each other. I know it's kind of a cliche thing to say, but I really do. Until you've been a part of it, as you've been before, and be able to experience a success like that with a good group of guys. But until you've ever been through it, it's hard to really understand what it means when these guys say they really do. They play for each other. They generally care about each other, and they want to see each other do well. So it's been pretty special.
Yeah, that bond is tight, and that bond never goes away. Yeah. I mean, I'm still, 40 years later, it's 40 years since we played in Super Bowl 16. And I'm still, really good friends with all the. It's almost like military service, I guess, or police, fire, things like that, where you work as a team. The athletes the same way, man. You create bonds that stay bonded forever. It's
Well,
pretty.
I think that's what's so special about sport is you're trying to compete. Everybody's working towards one goal,
Yep.
and they work so hard, and everybody gives up so much just for one goal. And for us, this it's for 60 minutes on a Sunday. Everybody works together and tries to stay focused together, and everybody's we work 6 days throughout the week preparing for it for a 60-minute shot on Sunday, and so there's a lot that goes into it. And it's a special bond that it's difficult to ever break that. And I certainly know it won't be here.
So Joe Burrow, the resiliency aspect that you're talking about, doesn't matter what the situation is, down 21-3 on the road at Arrowhead, man, that's a brutal place to play. And it's like, no problem, we got this, we're fine. Does it start with Joe Burrow's mentality in that regard? I mean, everybody has that belief, but when you quarterback, kind of sets a tone, sets a standard, everybody else believe even more, do you think?
Oh, I certainly, because the quarterback is the leader of the team, and especially for him to do it at such a young age and to feel comfortable in that role, it's pretty unique, and it's a good thing, And we certainly have a young group. We have a young team, but the core foundation of our group of our team they're all young. We talk about the guys on offense, and the defense has been put together. Whether it be through free agency or through the draft, we've picked up a lot of good guys that way. But that's what's so exciting about the whole deal is it's a young group still, and the best days are still going to be out in front of us. And I think everybody knows that. I think everybody senses that this is a team that's going to have to be dealt with here for years to come.
In the phase that you're coordinating special teams, everybody talks about, oh, geez, losing Ogunjobi as a 3 technique pass rusher, that's a significant blow. Losing Riley Reef at right tackle, significant blow. But it hasn't been too many, big injuries to key players. You've had some injuries in your special teams units. You've had injury to core guys where you've had to do this the Super Bowl shuffle before the Super Bowl even. Talk about how you had to kind of massage your roster in that regard.
Well, it started. We hit a spot there, through the first really third of the season where we kept losing guys, left and right. First, it started off with Jordan Evans, who was a key contributor for us when he got hurt, and then a week or two later we lose Brandon Wilson, who's obviously a very good talented player for us. He's a dual role guy because he was a kickoff returner and he was a gunner on punt and a good cover player on kickoff. And we lose him and Akeem Davis Gaither in the same week against Cleveland, I believe it was the first time we played him. So there's always going to be a level of attrition. There's always going to be losses. Again, it's just how you deal with those losses and how quickly you can get another guy up to speed. I've stated before, I require a lot out of our guys, whether it's practice squad guys or even if it's backup players for me. I require them to be ready to play. Like any coach would, but I put a lot on their plate that that way it's just. And really, when you lose somebody, it's really what that is. It's an opportunity for somebody else to come make a play. It's an opportunity for somebody else to come show up and show out. And we acquired guys like Clay Johnston. It gives him an opportunity to play. Keandre Jones has given him an opportunity to play. Even Trey Flowers, quite honestly, it gave him an opportunity to play, which he's never really done.
Right.
He's been a starting corner for so long at Seattle, and but yet he's accepted this role. That's his role in our team, and he accepts that. I think he wants to excel at it, and he's doing that. So it's a tribute to our players. Again, kind of that whole Semper Fi attitude. Everybody's together. Everybody's in this whole deal together, and it's really a special group that way.
You look at it, Trent Taylor, here's a guy that kind of put out a fire, as such, as a reliable return guy for you. And then, he carves a little, expands his role, carves a little niche. He has a huge 2-point conversion play that's massive. I mean, that play, that if you don't execute that play, you don't win that football game, in the AFC championship game. And Flowers turned into a guy to negate tight ends. I mean, he's a guy with the length, taking care of tight ends, he's part of the defensive package. I mean, when you give them their opportunity on special teams, all of a sudden another coach is like, yeah, you know what, this guy deserves maybe a shot to create something for this guy to be part of what we're doing, either offensively or defensively. That's the way it goes in the league, right?
That's the way it has to work when you're playing with 46 guys on a 47 guys, whatever the hell it is now, 48. I don't even know. The rules change so much. But when you're only playing with a certain number of guys, everybody has to have expanded roles, and I think versatility is certainly a key component, and what keeps this thing afloat. That when you do have injury, you do have something happen to a position, you can just inject another guy in there, and he knows what to do.
Right.
And again, it's a tribute to our guys and the way that they prepare. It means a lot to them. We go through a ton of meetings, and it's important for these guys to not let each other down too. They want to fill right in, whoever takes up that role, and they want to do it better than the guy who was in there before them. So no, again, and the better the guys do with me, it's kind of like you graduate to the varsity a little bit, right? The more plays you make in the kicking game, that you earn opportunities to play in other ways. And a guy like Trent Taylor, he's done that already in his career in San Francisco. So really, it's just about where it meets opportunity. When the guy's given the chance to go out there and do what he does, he's done it, and he's done it effectively. Right. That's the mark of a good team. But the next guy's up and he's ready to go when his number's called.
So when you're it's incredible. This football team has gone from 2 years ago to the Senior Bowl, coaching the Senior Bowl. 2 years later, you're coaching the Super Bowl. I mean, that's like, a 2-14 record, 4 wins the following year with a tie. And then now you're in the Super Bowl. It's the most dramatic turnaround in NFL history. What does that mean to you to be part of that?
It's really special. It really hasn't even sunk in, because I think we have that expectation again, but until you actually go out and do it, it becomes something different. And there's a saying downstairs that I think Paul Brown had that's on our walls. I'm sure you've walked by it many times, that it says winning makes believers of us all.
Right.
And it's dead on, and we've been fortunate enough to get some good wins early in the season. And then guys start really believing we're not going to lose, that you can't be beat. Again, we've had hiccups along the way, like any team has, but it is. I think it's a tribute to our coaching staff, keeping these guys together, because that's a tough thing to do, as you well know, Lap. When things aren't going well, it's tough. Yep. It's tough to winning is so hard in this league. Just to win a game is so hard, and but to keep guys together when things weren't good, I think is a tribute to the guys. We've been able to assemble the locker room. We've drafted the right kind of guys. We've brought in the right type of guys, our kind of guys, that fit the profile that we want in free agency. And so again, when times weren't good, nobody pointed the fingers. Everybody stuck together. They knew that eventually we get this thing turned around, and it's great to see. It's so fulfilling to see that plan come to fruition, and us have success.
Paul Brown had another saying, or at least the first time I heard it was when Paul Brown was my head coach way back in the Wayback Machine in like 1974, my rookie year. I heard him get up and say one time, what we're going to do in this football game, guys, is we're not going to change a whole lot of things we've done. We have a core principles that we believe in, but we're going to make different things look the same and the same things look different. Little salt, pepper here, a little offense and defense. That's done. What about special teams, coach? I mean, as you advance in the playoffs and you win the AFC Championship, going to the Super Bowl, do you try to make the same things that you've done a little different and different things look the same?
Yeah, I think it's all about it, because it's not about what I know. It's about information I can get to the players and what they can know and understand. So, yeah, we will do some things that look the same, but there are different wrinkles off of it. That's one thing that's unique too about playing the Super Bowl. You got 2 weeks to prepare for somebody. So, I've watched, more tape this week, and I go back to I'm doing research on when this coach, the coach that we're going to be going against, Joe DeCamillis, was in Jacksonville, and I've gone against him many times, but I watched a ton of the Jacksonville tape from 2020 and 2019. It even dates back to when he was in the Super Bowl with the Broncos. I watched, their playoff run and how he coached and how he called things and the plays that they ran, even dating back to when he was in the Super Bowl. I think it was in 2016, when Peyton Manning was the quarterback in Denver. So, right. There's some things that we're going to keep the same, because it's what we do. That's our signature. That's our roadmap. That's our stamp. But there's also little wrinkles that we'll put off of it that do make it different. The causes, all I'm doing is trying to create a little bit of hesitation in the opponent, something that's a little different that allows us to get an edge. And if it looks the same, and maybe it is the same, then we got to go execute it. It may look the same, but there may be a different wrinkle off of it again that could create some type of hesitation to give us an advantage.
So, Coach, I'm looking at playoff notes here, and this young man, Brandon Powell. Brandon Powell has made a huge impact on the football team. I mean, during the regular season, he averaged over 22 yards per punt return. He busted one for 61 yards and a touchdown. They're fifth in the NFL in the regular season returning punts and fifth covering punts. And I look at their punt differential in the playoffs. They're averaging 15.8. He's averaging on 5 returns. They're only allowing 4. At plus 11.8. That's more than a first down right there that that they don't have to worry about that you do, and that's a big deal, isn't it? Big deal.
Yeah, it's huge. Well, that's part of what their formula is. They try to create space that way. They try to create a difference of field position. This little return that's come on the scene for them, Powell, that you're referring to. He didn't have a ton of returns. He's got 10 on the season, which includes the regular season, the playoffs. But he's been super effective. He's created some. And it's not just the one explosive play. Sometimes when you have a touchdown that inflates the average, but he's not having an inflated average. He's legit. And he's been a big difference maker for him. He's quick, he's fast. He runs with great determination. Doesn't go down easy. He's not a big guy, but he runs hard, he runs strong. And then they create a lot of hesitation for us on punt return with their punt team. It starts with their punter, Hecker. Hecker, I think he's 14 of 23 throwing the ball in his NFL career. So he was a college quarterback. We've went against him several times, and you certainly have to be alert that he could, pull some type of fake, whether it's a throw, whether it's a run, whether it's something. And this coach that we're going against is known for that. He loves to try to create, different formations and motions to try to create hesitation with our punt return team, allow the punter just to wail away, and not punt under duress or punt under rush. It makes it difficult to rush him and come after him because of the threat of the fake. So they do a good job. It's a team that's put together very well, and hopefully we can, again, like you said, create some mismatches that put some pressure on them and, forces them to have to try to execute a little differently than what they're used to doing.
Brandon Powell, if I recall correctly, came off the practice squad, so it's with this COVID, manipulating the roster like the Bengals have had to do too. I mean, go out and get guys like Kerr, another defensive lineman down the stretch that have been in the league for 8-10 years or whatever, and they played a lot of football. They know what they're doing. Sure. I think that the Bengals have been as good as anybody, coaching staff and the scouting people in terms of identifying a guy and let's grab him off their practice squad. Let's go get this guy. It's been amazing to fill these holes like you guys have.
Yeah, I think our scouting department has done a good job of identifying guys, that could be potential fits. We've had a loss, whether an injury at a position or just have an opening on the practice squad. That's what's been really unique, honestly, about this COVID stuff is the expanded practice squads has really made things better. We can develop players better. It's a good thing for the league to have this 16-man practice squad. It used to just be, at one time it was 5, and then it expanded, I think, to 8, and then it went to 10, and now being at 16, I think it's a huge thing because now you can pull guys up and pull guys up off the practice squad, activate them for game day, put them back down the practice squad. You can do that a couple times. The playoffs is kind of limited. I mean, that's really what we've done with Trent Taylor, quite honestly. I mean, Trent Taylor's still on the practice squad per se. It's just kind of an accounting thing or a numbers thing. So we're playing with really 54 players. It's a way for us to, utilize the system that's in place to keep him on the practice squad, yet he plays in every game. So he's like a 53-man roster player to us, but by rule he's on the practice squad. So having this expanded practice squad has really helped us been able to develop these guys. And so when you do lose somebody, your pool of players that you're picking from is bigger, and a lot of them are already in-house. They could be on our practice squad.
Along the way, I'll use the offensive line as an example. I mean, during the course of the playoffs, they played against, Tennessee, for example. Let's start with the Raiders. Raiders had a really good defensive front. Multiple guys. Crosby was ridiculously energetic and, couldn't empty his tank. I mean, the guy came every single snap. And they had other players. Tennessee had 3 pass rushers that could hurt you. Kansas City, same thing. Jones inside, people on the edge. So now you're in the Super Bowl, and you got to go against Aaron Donald and Von Miller. But along the way now, you've faced some pretty good,
Yeah.
kind of your iron toughens iron, sharpens iron. They've been sharpened a little bit. So there's in my mind, you as a foreign player, you'd be more ready to face a defensive line like that. Special teams the same way. I mean, you've had a couple of opponents during the course of the playoffs here. I know one was in the top 5 in every special teams category, all 4 categories. So do you feel like your special teams guys are really ready against the Rams?
Yeah, I mean, we played against Kansas City was ranked second. Baltimore was ranked first, I believe, or right up there at the top. Kansas City was ranked second. They're obviously fantastic in the return game. They're similar to, I don't know that the Rams have quite the same speed at that position that Kansas City just can blow you away with their speed. But the one thing I think that you have to do too is you can limit some of that with the job that your kicker and your punter do. That you can limit their touches with the specialists. Be selective about where you place the ball, where you put the ball. I thought Evan did a really good job of that in the Kansas City game, in the AFC Championship game. We only punted 4 times, I think, maybe against Kansas City, or 3 times, maybe a couple of them are plus 50. So, fortunately for us, they never really got the opportunity to get after us. Our offense did a good job of getting out of holes. And like I said, a couple of punts that we have are plus 50s. We only had 1 minus 50. I think that was maybe the opening drive of the game. So again, hopefully we can limit our exposure to some of those returners that they've got just by the effectiveness for our specialists.
Let's talk about your kicker, Evan McPherson. Whew. I mean, this guy, 12 field goals. He's 2 away from tying Vinatieri's record of 14 in the playoff. He's got a record for 12 in 3 playoff games is a record. Nothing seems to phase this guy. I mean, Joe Burrow doesn't flinch. Evan McPherson doesn't flinch either. This guy is unflinchable or non-flinchable, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. He's pretty cool customer. That's what makes him pretty unique. That's what makes him very effective too. Is there's really not a situation that's too big for him. I could tell that, and you could tell that both in positive fashion and when it doesn't go well. I could tell he was going to be fine. He's going to be a good one whenever, he didn't make the one against Green Bay, but he didn't let it affect him. I've been around other guys that sometimes it affects each guy differently. And they'll all tell you, though, the most important kick that you have is the next kick. It's not the ones you just made or missed. It's the next kick. And Evan's very good at compartmentalizing his emotions and keeping it in check. I'd love to have a heart rate monitor on him. On a couple of these game winners. I know what mine would be like. I know what it is like. I know what it's like on the sideline, but I think his is probably going to be pretty steady. And that's what allows him to be good. And he's very confident. He didn't think there's a kick that he can't make. And I think he actually is better in highly competitive situations. He's a gamer. And so I'm proud of what he's done. And, we're going to need him to come up big for us again.
We've talked about this before, but even as you go to a Super Bowl, it's even more important. Clark Harris has been around for a long time, Pro Bowl caliber snapper. Kevin Huber's been around a long time, Pro Bowl caliber punter, holder. And so the operation that Evan McPherson has, Clark Harris, Kevin Huber, so much experience. I mean, even though Evan McPherson, like you said, the heart rate and all that, but to have, he's so opposed anywhere, but to have that feeling of, it's going to be perfect. I don't have to worry about it. These guys, I don't have to say, geez, are the laces going to be, going to be facing me? Is the snap going to be high? None of that. If you eliminate all that, how much easier is it?
Oh, it's so much easier. And again, I tell Kevin this all the time, that half his job is holding. Half his job is punting, but the other half's holding. The last time I checked, the way that you win the game is by scoring points. Right. And you got to score points, you got to kick field goals, you got to make kicks. So that's half your job. And he's been very effective at it. There were a couple of snaps in the Kansas City game, if the laces weren't perfect. It'd be nice if you can catch it with the laces right in front and just set it back, set it down. Those are a couple of snaps. The laces weren't exactly perfect, and Kevin did a hell of a job of spinning it, but it didn't affect anything. 90% of the time, the snaps are exactly where you want them with the laces. It makes his job where he catches it and sets it down. But Evan has a great deal of confidence in Kevin and Clark, and I think it's a big part of his success is knowing he didn't have to worry about the snap and hold. It's going to be there. He just got to make the kick.
So how good a holder is Kevin Huber? And what people say, you catch the ball and put it. There's a little bit of craftiness to holding, right? Give us some of that.
Well, there's a lot that goes into it. It's not just catching the ball, catching and holding it. He's got to do a good job of managing the clock, managing the play clock. People don't know this, but on a touchdown play that gets confirmed, upstairs, the 25-second clock starts. So from the time that we score a touchdown till, we have 25 or 40 seconds to get the kickoff. And so a lot of that stuff happens fast. Guys are trying to celebrate in the end zone. I'm trying to get them the hell off the field. So we get the field goal team out there and get going. So Kevin does a really good job too of managing the clock and managing Evan, telling him, hey, let's go. We got to pick it up a little bit. We're a little late. The play clock's running down or what have you. But I think because we've been through so many situations and games and different things with Kevin and Clark, they're like coaches on the field for Evan. And I think it's a very calming influence too, to know that they're always in control. And, Evan's just kind of along for the ride. He just follow those two guys and they'll be fine.
That's it. That's great. So Evan, down the stretch here, tell us the what was going through your mind when he had that little bit of a groin issue, and then tell us about the escapade when he went in to change shoes and what was going through your mind down the stretch of these last few games.
Well, we're getting ready to play the biggest game of the year, our first Kansas City game, and he goes out for warm up and kind of, got a little something going in his groin. It doesn't feel quite right. And I'm thinking, oh my God, we're getting ready to play the biggest game of the year, and our kicker, the way you score points he's not right. And so he did a very good job of managing. I think that's again something that that he did a really good job of, and you would know as a player too, is how you manage injuries and you're able to play through stuff and not let it affect you. And he did a very good job of just getting through that game. We dealt it a little bit with the kickoffs. The kickoffs are a little shorter, a little lower, but again, he was able to make it through the game, and obviously, hit the game winner there at the end.
Right.
So he did a hell of a job of that. And then we go to the Tennessee game. So we sat him, we rest him. He could have played in the Cleveland game, the last game of the season, but we decided, well, we really, the important game is we need you the next week for the divisional round or for the wild card round. And so we were fortunate enough we were able to set him for that game, then make sure he was back at 100% healthy, which he was. Then we get to after we beat the Raiders, we then go play Tennessee, and we're in pregame warmup, and it's a great day. It's a nice day out there in Tennessee, and he doesn't. Pregame warmup was not great. It wasn't poor. It just wasn't great. He was undercutting some balls, and he was short on a couple of field goals from like 48 or 49 yards. I'm like, oh my God, he just doesn't have it today. It's just, it's like a golfer, he just, for whatever reason, just don't have it. It's just not there. It's just not timing up. And I'm like, oh my God, again, most important game of our life, and he's missing it. And so I went up to Kevin and I said, hey, is he? Because I saw Evan at the end of pregame warm-up. He just took off running for the locker room, same way that happened in the Kansas City game. I'm like, oh my God. I told Kevin, I said, did he hurt his groin again? He goes, oh no, he's just going to change shoes. I'm like, change his shoes? He goes, yeah, he'll be fine. He just had to go change his shoes. I'm like, okay. So why the hell did he have the right shoes on in the first place? So we go through the rest of pregame warm up with the offense, defense. We always kick a little short field goal at the end of pregame, and he hit the field goal, and I'm come jogging. He's just got a big smile on his face. And he says, yep, I'm back. It's your shoes. He goes, yeah, it's just my shoes. Instead of change shoes. Like, all right, whatever it is, just make sure you wear those shoes from now on. Don't wear the other ones.
Unbelievable.
Wear those shoes, but it's very unique.
So when you're making your evaluation on, like, you're going to say to Zach during the game, look, he's good today from 54. He's good today from 52, whatever. And does that vary much with Evan? And what would you anticipate his longest distance range in a dome like you guys are going to be playing in out there in LA?
Yeah, it certainly affects it. It affected it. It affected it in a tough way in that Tennessee game, because I really didn't have a very good feel for what his true range would be.
Yeah.
For that day, we actually had to. If you remember, we had a 54-yarder there with about 6 minutes to go, and so the ball's on the 36-yard line, and they're looking at me, has he got this? I'm like, I don't think he's got it. This is too far. And Kevin just gave one quick look at me and says, he's good. He's fine. I'm like, all right, then let's do it. Field goal. So I have a great deal of trust that Kevin can, know and feel and understand that situation. He knew that I was, not sure right there in that spot. But it was good that he assured me, like, no, he's fine. And So we went out there and he smoked it. He made good on it. In terms of what his range will be at the SoFi, it's going to be difficult for me to tell right now. It's not a dome. I mean, it's a covered stadium, but the end zones and the ends are open. So there's a lot of open air. There's a lot of air flow that comes through there. We've talked to a couple guys that have played in that stadium this year, and just talking to them about what the wind, if there's a wind, what it's like. But I would say on a normal day in a dome that when he's hitting it good, we could back it up to the 40, 42, 43 yard line. And feel pretty confident that he could get it there.
He's amazing. There's
Yeah.
no doubt about it. Like you say though, with the open ends, it's not temperature controlled or whatever.
No.
I mean, and it's supposed to be in the 80s. I mean, it could
Yeah.
be a fairly warm day, but it's going to be
Yeah.
dry. I mean, there's not going to be a whole lot of humidity out there, but
Right.
getting out there and getting some of those days under your belt for practice, big, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know when the last time we practiced in 80-degree weather.
Right.
It's a hell of a long time ago, I can tell you that.
No
So
doubt.
it'll be good to get out there and get a couple, 3 or 4 days worth of work out there, get these guys hydrated, get their bodies accustomed to playing, in that time zone, in that type of weather conditions, and in that temperature will be big for us.
So Evan hit from 60 in high school, and the story is that he hit from 75 at Florida. Is that all fact? In practice.
You can, if you ask him, I'm sure he'd tell you probably hit from 80. I mean, there's not a lot that he doesn't think that he can't do. I think there's probably some truth to it. I know his brother broke his record, his high school record.
He did. He hit a 61-yarder, beat him by a yard. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of his brother's whole goal his senior year, just to beat Evan's record, and he did. And I think Evan's happy for him that they did that. But no, he really has. He has a very, very powerful leg. The ball just sounds different when it comes off his foot. It comes off his foot cleaner, better, harder. It's completely different. I mean, you can tell it's a different deal when he hits it. When he hits it clean, I mean, his best ball is going to be as good as anybody in this league's best ball. So, he just got to keep going, keep doing what he's doing, and keep believing in himself.
I remember I was fortunate enough to go down to Reds batting practices over the years, and the two guys that when they took batting practice, it sounded different coming off their bat. Ken Griffey Jr. and Adam Dunn. I mean, it was like when they hit, it was like, whoa.
Yeah, you could feel it. Yeah, it feels different.
Unbelievable. And is that kind of the same? Just that sound coming off the foot.
Absolutely, yeah. The ball just jumps off his foot. Yeah, I could see that after about 3 kicks at Florida that day. Like this kid's different. This cat's different. And that's something I can't coach. I can't coach leg strength. I can't coach leg talent. We can develop it a little bit, but you either got it or you don't. And it's something he has.
His brother was the holder. He was a sophomore in high school when Evan hit the 60-yarder, and now fast forward, he hits the 61-yarder, and now he's going to Auburn on scholarship. What is it with the kicking McPhersons? I mean, man, they got just hanging off those right hips, man.
I know, whatever it is, they have a unique talent. Yeah, they have a unique gift, and they're utilizing it to the best of their ability right now. It's good that they've identified it because they're doing well.
So, if you could give us an idea of some of the really good performers, and I know it's early stages. You're still probably deep diving into the Rams special teams, but for fans that are listening and watching, who should they kind of keep an eye peeled for when the Rams are performing on special teams?
Well, I mean, the ones that are the most visible, they're 2 specialists. I mean, their kicker, Matt Gay, is a Pro Bowler. He was a 3rd-year guy out of Utah. I actually went and worked him out when he came out of college. I worked him out in Salt Lake City with their punter. At Utah that year was Mitch Wisnowski, and he's actually the punter for the 49ers. So they had 2 really good specialists at Utah that year. Matt had a Pro Bowl season. He was somebody that'll stick out. He has very good range too in his field goal kicking. Their punter's been a good player for them for a long time, Johnny Hecker. He's been very effective. I think he's probably one of the highest paid punters, if not the highest paid punter in the league. He's been very effective for a long time. He can really control field position. He can hit a variety of different kicks. He's a threat to throw the ball, at any point. Like I say, he's 14, I think, at 23 in his career.
Yeah.
The returner that you talked about is also somebody we certainly got to deal with. Yeah. Brandon Powell. He's been very effective. He's both their kickoff returner and punt returner. He's got a monster average on punt return, so that's going to be a big challenge for us. A couple of their leading tacklers, Ben Skronek, I think is how you pronounce it. He's a wide receiver at Notre Dame. I think he started off at Northwestern and then finished up his college career at Notre Dame. He's a big, tall receiver. He wears number 18. He plays gunner for him. He'll be an inside cover player for him on kickoff. He's been very effective this year in this role that he's had. I think he's their leading tackler. They have another linebacker, 56. Roseboom is his name. He's an effective player. He's out of South Dakota State. He's a very effective player for him. They have a big defensive lineman. I think Michael Hope is his name. He's number 96. He's 6'3", 288. And he covers down on kickoff like he's a linebacker, and so he's very effective. I mean, it's a big snowplow that you're trying to stop. They have a couple another rookie, Jake Funk. There's a kid out of Maryland who was a really good special teams player at Maryland. He's a running back / fullback. He's a solid player for him. They're solid all the way around. They're ranked up there highly. This is a good group we're going to play.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I think when I looked it up last, and I haven't really done it this year, but I don't think it changed from last year's Super Bowl. I think there are 10 kickoff return touchdowns in Super Bowl history, and Stanford Jennings has one. A Bengal has one of them. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's been a punt return touchdown in Super Bowl history, has there? I'm
not sure about that. I don't think there has been, but I'm not 100% sure of that though either. Yeah. I don't think there has been.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And so, I mean, it'd be great if some kind of unconventional, unscripted score like that, Trent Taylor take it to the house, man.
That's what you got to you got to try to do something special, do something extraordinary to win this game. That's what it's going to take.
Yeah, no question. Yeah, I'm happy for so many people. And Mark Duffner, 25 years, gets in the Super Bowl. You 24 years, getting the Super Bowl. That's great. I mean, that's you guys. It's well earned, well deserved. I mean, can't happen to better coaches, man. You guys are ball coaches in every sense of the word. Couldn't be happier for you guys.
Well, it's just I feel very fortunate just to be a part of it. It's been really, really, really neat to see the way that we've won these games and just the togetherness, like I talked about earlier, that this group has with the coaching staff or with the players. It's just a really special group. It is. This has been kind of a long time coming for this. I'm just happy for the whole city. I'm happy for this organization. It's a super positive time right now, and it'd make it even better if we can find a way to win this game on Sunday.
And finally, Coach, get you out of here on this. When Kansas City won the toss in overtime, I thought, ooh, something big's got to happen here. I mean, they only needed 13 seconds to go down the football field and beat the team the week before, the Buffalo Bills, and then the interception happens, and it's like, oh, I mean.
You know how long they had the ball in overtime?
2 seconds.
13 seconds. They had the ball for 13 seconds in overtime. Yeah.
That's Omen right there, isn't it?
That's karma. Yeah, that's karma.
Oh, that's that's Rod Sterling stuff there, man.
Well, there's a lot of forces that are working for us right now, and I hope we can keep those forces together for one more game.
No doubt, Coach. Might as well. You know what? You're in Super Bowl 56. Might as well win the son of a gun, right?
Let's go win the damn thing, right? Let's go win it. Might as well. We're here. We just will win it.
That's right. Big time.
That's right.
Can't thank you enough. I know it's a busy time for you, and for you to carve time with us means a lot. You're the best, sir.
Well, appreciate you always having me on, Lap. You guys do a great job, and you give great insight to all the fans and all the listeners. So I really appreciate being on here.
At First Star Logistics, we're a very strict company that really puts the pressure on our employees. Brakes? What are those?
That's what I'm talking about, Icky. Get the body right, then the mind's right.
Gotta get that body right.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Become a star with a chance to earn the highest commission percentages in the industry as a freight broker agent. Check out FirstStarLogistics.com.